Welcome to the video, guys.
Do I just look at the camera like at you?
What is going on, guys? My name is Andrew Pence. Welcome to another video. In this one, we're going to go over, is living in Sebastian right for you? I'm here with my wife, Hannah, and she's just here with for moral support. It's actually our 2-year anniversary today, so we're just out grabbing a little bite to eat over here at Captain Hiram's. But we're going to jump into that video, and we're going to do that right after this. So what's going on, guys? My name is Andrew Pinch. I'm a local realtor here in beautiful Vero Beach in Sebastian, Florida. Today we just so happen to be in Sebastian at Captain Hiram's. If you're looking for a channel that goes over everything about what it's like to live, play, eat, sleep, and buy real estate anywhere on the Florida East Coast, then please like this video, tap that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell because you'll be notified every single Friday when I upload a new video. I'm getting calls from people every single day and I absolutely love it. So if you have any questions or concerns before making that move down here to the Florida East Coast, then please give me a call, shoot me a text, or send me an email because I promise we'll have your back when making that move down here to the Florida East Coast. All right, guys, so now it's time to jump into the video about, is moving to Sebastian the right move for you? And I'm going to tell you all the pros and cons of things that you need to know before making that move. In this video, we're going to try to summarize everything. All right, guys, so I wanted to start off this video the way I usually do with just a quick market update. This one's going to be Sebastian specific. And in this market update, I wanted to show you that the new listings, the new inventory that's hitting the market in Sebastian is actually starting to decrease a little bit right now as well. Not by much, but we are seeing a slight drop off in new listings coming up in at least the month of September. So in September, all the businesses are pretty slow. Home sales may slow down quite a bit just at this point in time too. And I wanted to flip this camera around too, just to show you how slow even Captain Hiram's is. So all the B-roll footage that you saw in the beginning of the video is also whenever I first walked up here. It's about 1:15, so I got here at prime lunchtime. I'm gonna turn the camera around right now just so you can see. So very slow for smaller businesses, even on a beautiful day like it is today. It's September 13th when I'm recording this. And so yeah, so we're seeing a slowdown and a decrease of inventory, which also means that the buyers who are looking into purchasing right now, we're on a time crunch to get it right now, are seeing a little bit more of a competition because the inventory is starting to drop off just slightly right now at this time of year. Another thing that I like to point out too is the closed price versus the original price. So this is the original listing price of a house versus the closed price. So in July, we saw this percentage dip down to 98%. So remember, we were over 100% to where homes were selling on average higher than what they were listed for. In July, it dipped down to 98%. In August, it dipped down to 97%. And so far in September, it's bumped back up to 99%. So that is just another indicator that we are not having that gradual fall or that big collapse that that a lot of people are predicting, a lot of YouTubers predicting. Right now in September, we are at 99%. So we're actually coming closer to the asking price of these sold homes here in Sebastian, Florida, at least in our tiny little bubble down here on the East Coast. Another thing is rentals right now. So a lot of people want to move down, rent for a little bit, get to know the area before they decide to buy, which I 100% agree with. Relocating and buying sight unseen is never the ideal thing, but I do try to help as much as I can with virtual videos and tours of the property along with the neighborhoods as well. But right now, rentals are sitting between, at least on the MLS, starting out at $1,800 a month all the way up to $3,600 a month. This is a mix of annual rentals and also seasonal rentals as well. So that's really what we're seeing right here. Nothing really over $3,600 a month. So still very reasonable, at least in Sebastian. A lot more reasonable than what you see down in Vero, especially on the beach side where things are renting for up to $10,000 a month during season. I know a big concern for a lot of buyers moving up from, from up north or any other state is going to be the beach access. That tends to be the most important factor when buying a house or purchasing a house here in either Vero Beach or Sebastian. So in Sebastian, you have one bridge, and that's the Wabasso Bridge, which is located just south of the Sebastian Highlands. So the majority of homes, the majority of people who buy with a Sebastian address are actually going to be driving a little bit further south to get to Wabasso Bridge and then go over to Wabasso Beach. One thing to be aware of, especially when you're shopping for a house and you may have seen one that was a killer deal, just make sure if this is an important factor for you to not be on a busy street, that we have 3 main roads here in Sebastian. We've got the 512, the Roseland Road, and we also have Barber Street. So Barber Street is a very popular street, especially with a lot of homes on the side of it. Roseland Road is not going to be as important to pay attention to because a lot of those houses are tucked back a little bit further back, but most of the homes on Barber Street are just a normal driveway's length to the actual road itself, making it not the ideal scenario for quite a few people. So just something to keep in mind whenever you're looking. If you see a heck of a deal on a house that's right off of Barber Street, just know that there's a reason for that, because the desirability goes down just a little bit more when it comes to being that close to a busy street. All right, next I wanted to talk about the waterfront restaurants, such as the one that I'm sitting in right now. The waterfront restaurants are a big reason why people decide to move to a town, or it's just a big reason or a big entertainment factor that you have whenever you're living here. So it's some of the main ones that you'll see, especially near the area right now where we are, is going to be Captain Hiram's, where I am right now, and directly behind me we have Blackfin's, and then Blackfin's is another just part of Captain Hiram's. We've got Squid Lips. We've also got Mulligan's, which is also, they have a location in Vero Beach as well. We've got Earl's Hideaway, which you've heard me talk about before in my other Sebastian videos. That is more so the biker bar. They have a big parking lot out front for you to, where you'll see motorcycles from start to finish. Pretty cool. They have live music there too. Same thing with where I am, Captain Hiram's. They have live music that plays over there, especially on the weekends during the busy season. You'll always see something going on over here at Captain Hiram's during that season. Another little local spot is going to be the Tiki Bar and Grill. And then also, if you're any fan of Jamaican food, any kind of Jamaican curry, then Mo Bay Grill is right here off of Indian River Drive as well. So lots of places to choose from. That's just a little pinch of it. Those are the top restaurants here on Indian River Drive. There's also quite a few restaurants here, like Sandy's Grill or Sandy's Roadside Grill. That's going to be over on the mainland in the Sebastian Highlands area. So definitely something to consider there too whenever you plan on moving here, is to check out not only the restaurants on the water, but also the restaurants on the mainland that you'll be visiting as well. One thing to remember about Sebastian is we don't have a lot of the big chain restaurants that Vero Beach will have. So we don't have a Chipotle, we do not have a Chick-fil-A, we do not have a Outback or anything like that. Even bigger grocery stores too, like the Costco's, which Vero Beach also does not have. So no Costco's, no big box stores. You would have to drive to Vero if you wanted to go to the big box store in Vero, which is Sam's Club. So while we don't have the big chain restaurants here in Sebastian, we've got the smaller family-owned ones that are very relatable or very alike the bigger chains that you'll see. And to be honest, the quality of food tends to be a lot better with those smaller family-owned restaurants anyway, and you get a little bit more relationship built with that too. You get to know the owners are usually there, and then also there's a lot of other places and opportunities for you to build relationships there as well. Going back to the beaches and the beach access that you'll have after going over the Wabasso Bridge, the first one that you're going to see as soon as you go over the bridge, you just continue going straight, is going to be Wabasso Beach. Go a little bit further north of there and you'll find Golden Sands. We also have Amber Sand Beach, and these are all going to be less populated than Wabasso Beach. And then of course we have the Sebastian Inlet State Park. This state park honestly deserves a video all on its own. I'll just give you a brief summary of everything that they have to offer. But my wife and I, we just recently bought 2 e-bikes, and I know you make fun of me for not wanting to pedal, but I prefer to have a little bit of a motor when I need it to just push me along, especially when we're talking about 40 miles of trails, bike trails that they have at the Sebastian River State Park. A lot of these have their own little private beach access places too, so that's really cool. I'm looking forward to that. If we do end up getting footage of that, I'm sure we'll include it into future videos. Maybe we'll make a video all on its own just about the Sebastian River or Sebastian Inlet State Park. So another cool thing for you surfers out there, the Sebastian Inlet State Park, we've got what's called Monsters Hole. Then we've also got First Peak, so you have the opportunity to surf on the First Peak or even check out Monsters Hole. Another few things that I can name off of just the top of my head is going to be the camping grounds. So we have camping grounds here. Regardless of what style of camping that you have, they should be able to accommodate it. We have insane world-class fishing there at the inlet. Monster snook, redfish, trout, sharks, anything that you want to hook up with, you could probably do so, especially if you're tossing live bait out there over by the rocks at the inlet. We've also got a little roped off area in the Sebastian Inlet where you could do some snorkeling. This is where boats are not allowed to go to, so you can feel safe there, snorkeling within this little roped off area without having to worry about boats coming in and out going through the Sebastian Inlet. Another cool thing, so my mother-in-law, Hannah's mom, is really into shelling. So that's just walking around collecting shells. The inlets will have a lot of that because it is just where a lot of water is being fed in and out, and it's always being refreshed through with new current with the incoming tide and the outgoing tide. And it's also a very narrow and rough inlet too, so it stirs up the water even more, giving you even more opportunity to find that nice little shell for you to hang up or put up on your shelf at home. Other cool things for you to check out to do, we've got a lot of museums here in Sebastian. So one of my favorite is going to be Mel Fisher's right off of US 1, very close to where I am right now. That is going to be Mel Fisher, who found the Etosha and also has rights to a lot of the 1715 fleet off of the Treasure Coast as well. So you'll see, items for sale, things like these Etosha coins, 1715 fleet coins for sale in there, and also get to learn the history about it and get to watch his journey, which is a crazy story, by the way, on a TV, on a flat screen when you first walk in, and then get to experience the whole journey throughout the museum there. We've also got the McLarty's Museum as well, Treasure Museum. That's going to be off of A1A. And we've also got a cool fishing museum, because Sebastian was started off as a smaller fishing village. It still kept that same smaller fishing village charm throughout its years, but things have definitely changed. So we have that museum to kind of remind us about where it all started when Sebastian was founded. Another big one of things to do is definitely going to be boating. Most of Sebastian is within non-HOA regulated neighborhoods where you can store the boats on the side of the house as long as it's, the county is okay with where it's kept. There are some setbacks and some rules with that as well, so definitely reach out and ask about those if that's something you're interested in doing. We have plenty of boat ramps. They are public boat ramps. No fees needed, no charges to use them, no charges to park the boats either. So lots of public access boat ramps all up and down US 1 here as well. And this is all not to mention the world-class fishing that we have in the inlets and throughout the lagoon that is close to the inlet as well. So lots of things to do if you're a boater. We have the sandbar too, so the Sebastian sandbar is where a lot of people like to pull up their boat, anchor down, just have a couple drinks, have a good time, hang out with family, and a lot of cool sandbars to hang out there too if you're not into fishing, or if you decided just to change up the scenery a little bit. And then also, of course, the fishing that I talked about earlier. Here's another one that not a lot of people know about, is we also have skydiving too. So Sebastian skydiving, if you wanted to get up and just see the beautiful Atlantic, beautiful blue waters there, and also get a great view of that inlet too, we have the opportunity for you to jump out of a plane and try some skydiving here as well. So pretty cool. Another thing, if you have kids who are into skateboarding, we also have a Sebastian skate park. I think a lot of this was due to, back in the early days whenever I was in school and skateboarding was huge, a lot of property damage was being done at the time by skateboarders because street skating was a thing. So Sebastian, as a town, decided to take some of their tax dollars and open up a skate park to kind of diminish the property damage that was being done whenever skateboarding was in its prime, back in the 90s and early 2000s. Now going back to the water parks as well, you do not have to have a boat with a motor to enjoy the water. My mother-in-law, again, the one who enjoys shelling, she also really enjoys taking the kayak out. So there are multiple kayak launches and canoe launches within Sebastian, especially up in the Sebastian River, the St. Sebastian River, where, you know, the water gets a little bit skinnier, it's a little bit more brackish back there, but you have a nice shallow cut to where the wind stays out. So even on a windy day, you are protected by those cuts, and it definitely helps out too from protecting you from the waves as well. So we have multiple kayak launches. On a quiet day, you can launch at any public boat ramp as well. And there's a lot of other little side cuts too off the main roads where you can launch the kayak and also park your car while you're out enjoying yourself on a nice flat morning here in the Sebastian area. So safety is a big concern, and a lot of things people asking about the crime rates of the area. Well, I am very happy to tell you that after further research, Sebastian is 72% below the national average as far as crime rate statistics go, and that's a really cool fact. I'm so happy to explain that. We also have, I believe it's 80% below the national average for violent crime. So if you're thinking of specifically just safety and violent crime, is if that's what you're associating with, that is even more, 80% below the national average. And then property crime is at a whopping 70% below the national average. So Sebastian overall extremely safe, extremely nice area, very well kept throughout the Sebastian Highlands. And to be honest, with the price tags that they're getting for these houses, starting around the 350s, kind of getting up into the 450s and well beyond for much bigger square foot houses, even being able to live on the water for under $1 million here in Sebastian. That is a huge selling point, in my opinion, to have a safe town and also have those lower price tags when considered, when comparing it against South Florida or somewhere on the West Coast. Now, you can't talk about a town and not mention its grocery stores and its shopping. So Sebastian, of course, as you can imagine, with any small fishing village, you're gonna have these smaller fruit stands, but you also have the major shopping centers that you will see throughout the country as well. So we have all sorts of things, such as a Walmart Supercenter. We've got several Publixes throughout. I think we have 3 Publixes throughout the entire town of Sebastian, which Sebastian is not a big town, so to have 3 Publixes throughout the area is pretty significant. You're always going to be within driving distance of that. We've also got a Winn-Dixie, which is the Southeast grocers. So if Publix and Winn-Dixie both fall in that same category, where you're really going to only see them in the southeast part of the United States. We've also got Wabasso Foods. So Wabasso Foods is one of those real small grocers that like to keep it, you know, small and local. And also Jong's Produce. So Jong's Produce is going to be that tiny fruit stand that I was telling you about when I first started talking about the shopping. Another pro, if you are a traveler, is living in Sebastian, you are going to be roughly about an hour, 15 minutes, maybe even a little bit less from the Orlando International Airport. So you are slightly closer than in Vero Beach when you are living in Sebastian to the airport. So that could be good for you travelers, people who, like my wife, who has to travel outside of the state quite often for work. This could be a perfect place for you, especially if you find somewhere a little bit further out west where it's just an easy commute to get to 95. You hop on 95 and you're up towards the airport very quickly. So now it's time to dive into particular neighborhoods. You've heard me talk about the Sebastian Highlands, which makes up the majority of Sebastian, but I also wanted to talk about the small little sprinkle of HOA neighborhoods that we have within Sebastian. So if you are looking for a little bit more of a controlled environment, you don't mind paying the monthly fees, and you know, you want to live in a very nice, well manicured, possibly even gated neighborhood within Sebastian, you could do that too. So one of my favorites in there, just starting from the top, is going to be the Collier Club. So the Collier Club is in North Sebastian, north of the Sebastian Highlands. Really nice upscale area. Lots of nice mature landscaping when you're coming through the entryway, and it is a beautiful community. Kind of going down the list, another one's going to be Ashbury. So Ashbury, also very nice community. Laurel Reserve, that's going to be a newer one here within the Sebastian Highlands. We've also got San Sebastian Springs and Sandridge Estates too. Another neighborhood is called Cross Creek. So so Cross Creek, these houses are selling in the $500,000 to $700,000 range, so definitely a more upscale area. And then also one of the more popular ones, more easily to afford, is the Sebastian River Landing neighborhood. So those are all of the HOA neighborhoods within Sebastian that I could find. Like I said, there's not a lot, so it was very easy just to go through that list, but just know the majority of it is going to be non-HOA in the Sebastian Highlands. Now, a couple little tips if you are going to be shopping for a home and you're not looking into newer construction. A couple tips I just wanted to leave out there too is that one thing you have to be aware of when shopping for a house is, well, of course, all the conditions and everything matter, like the roof, the age of the AC, age of appliances, things like that. But another thing that not a lot of people consider is whether the house is going to be built by a frame home or it's going to be a concrete block house. So one thing to watch out for if you want a concrete block home is to please ask your realtor to confirm whether or not this house is a concrete block house or not. Because if you're looking into a home that was built back in the 70s, 80s, or 90s, and sometimes even early 2000s, a lot of these houses that have stucco on the front look like concrete block homes, but they are actually stucco on frame. And stucco on frame could mean trouble down the road when it comes to when you have to replace the frame siding underneath the stucco. So one thing I wanted to point out to my clients one time is that the frame actually was below the grade, which means that it was sitting actually below where the dirt was. So imagine the frame being that much further down below the dirt level. And now what this does is every time it rains, that moisture is then absorbed by the frame and by the frame underneath. That could cause some moisture damage. And with it being hidden by stucco, if you don't know what to look for, you could miss it because it just goes in the form of bubbles. It can look like the stucco itself is actually bubbling on the bottom. That is a big indicator of moisture damage on your frame house underneath. So just please do not make the mistake that a lot of other people have made when buying either without a realtor, just without asking the right questions, or working with the wrong realtor, buying a stucco on frame home and not knowing exactly what the repercussions of that could be going down the road. So thank you again, guys. I really appreciate it. Just wanted to give you that little pointer and the video about if moving to Sebastian may be right for you. If you have any questions or concerns before making that move down here to the Florida East Coast, please do not hesitate to give me a call, shoot me a text, or send me an email, because I promise I'll have your back when making that move down here to Vero Beach or Sebastian. You guys have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next week. Bye.